Welcome to the Photographer Diaries podcast. I'm your host, David Scott Bowles. This podcast is about anything and everything photography. Hey! Yeah! We got Ryan Kline. He's here today on the podcast. What's up, Ryan?
Nothing much, man.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about just, some stuff. Some photography stuff. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome to season 1, episode 2. We have our first guest on the show today. It's a good friend of mine named Ryan Kline. And why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, Ryan?
Ryan Kline, photographer. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why I'm here. I like taking pictures. I like take pictures of the landscapes a lot. Really trying to break into portraits a little bit, but I do more real estate than I would like to admit.
Yeah, real estate is tough. I've done my little share of real estate, and it almost drove me crazy. Let's talk a little bit about your style of photography. What would you define your style to be?
Shit, I honestly couldn't tell you. I just honestly started by taking a camera and applying basic, composition stuff, and just kind of experimented for like the longest time, and then things started to kind of like click, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm good at landscapes. And then I took like one good like portrait, and I was like, well, I guess I'm good at that too. I don't know. Let's just keep kind of bouncing around. I really couldn't say I have one style. I know I really like to capture as much like that I can see into the camera. So I try to like bridge that gap between camera and eye a lot, especially in post. Like editing is, I think, everything.
Yeah, no, I think I can agree. And I like that too about you, because that's very similar to me and how I kind of look at photography. Is that so I used to be a chef, and one thing when I was a chef was that one of the main questions is, what kind of food do you cook? Well, I fucking cook food. Like, yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't have a style per se. I don't have a favorite dish I like to cook or anything like that. So I always reference back to my cooking days in that aspect, because I don't think that you should pigeonhole yourself into a category or a genre. I mean, when I pitch myself, I'm a portrait and wedding photographer, but I don't only shoot portraits and weddings. I couldn't just shoot portraits and weddings.
Yeah.
It would drive me crazy. Like, I have to do something else. That's why, you and I, we go out and we shoot landscapes. We do astrophotography together, stuff like that. So that's really cool that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think one thing that really defines more of like how I feel, definitely landscape, like if I had to root it back, is more because I like the process of actually doing the landscape now, and hiking out 20, 30 miles, sitting up for a night, taking all the pictures you can, waiting for the sun to come back up, and then being completely exhausted coming back down. But then you put that card in the camera and you're like, oh, dude, no fucking way. Like, yeah, this is sweet.
Definitely.
So
it's funny because that's the way that you said that, how you said the process. And I think that's what I fucking hate the most about landscapes. Like, don't get me wrong, I love going out, I love nature, but like, I want to just go to a spot where I could set up and take a photo and be like, all right, cool, I got a landscape photo. Like, I don't want to do the process. I mean, I do and I don't, but
it's the best kind of suck in the world. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, what's the quote? Something about like the best views are the high, like the ones you finish or something. That's totally off, but you know what I mean. Once you get to the top, it's worth it for sure. Yeah. So, what do you like the most about photography?
That's a hard question.
Okay, hold on. While you think about that.
Yeah.
This is not sponsored by Brave Free Brewing.
You should hand me one of those over there too.
We'll do a little segue song right here.
Very much. what I think I like most about photography. If you asked my bank account, it's the gear.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know, man. Like it depends on the type, I guess, because like there's little things about portraiture that I like more than landscape and vice versa. I mean, drone photography, I love it and I hate it because I think it's cheating to be able to just throw a fucking camera, 300 feet up, and you can get some cool stuff, but the landscapes, I feel like when you don't get a good one from that, it's like you really weren't trying, because you can just throw it up over a city. And if you've got even like clouds or anything, you're gonna get a pretty cool photo.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is getting that photo. But with portraiture, I feel like it relies not only on model, but like the creativity that you have in like having somebody pose, doing weird things, or if sometimes that person does that and you're like, don't, stop, stay right there. Let me get this real quick. But I feel like I guess my favorite part of photography would be that it's pretty random. It's never cut and dry, really. It's never the same thing. I don't think I've run into the same thing with any style of photography.
Yeah.
Similar things, but not the same.
Definitely. I think I feel the same. I mean, I was always driven towards doing portrait photography and shooting people because I always needed a subject rather than just doing landscape. But yeah, same thing. I mean, I love photography because it's not the same. I mean, it's always something different. You always could do something. And especially if you go back to where we were talking about, like, if you shoot multiple facets of photography, then you're even expanding that more, right?
You start mixing things too. Like, I've seen some freaking epic portraits out in like a beautiful landscape, and both of them are captured on one frame, and I'm like, that's impressive. Like,
and I think that's what drove me to weddings, because and you work with me and you've seen it now, like, wedding photography is everything rolled into one.
Pretty much.
It's details, you're shooting products, right?
Yeah.
And then you have there's photographers out there. My buddy Sean Laura, he's a wedding photographer from Colorado. Hopefully I can get him on the show. He is very much a landscape photographer that just happens to put wedding people in his landscapes. And he shoots on like 14 millimeter lenses because he wants to show off the Colorado landscape. But yeah, I mean, exactly. And let's talk about your gear. What kind of gear do you use? What kind of camera are you shooting on right now? What do you want to shoot on? Or what is your dream camera?
Well, I mean, for any camera, I just want an Ari, dude. Come on.
Yes.
I don't just do
We're talking
photos,
about photography. Right, okay. This is the Photography Diaries.
I'd like to shoot on a Hasselblad. I think that'd be pretty cool. Like some medium format stuff. You could do some pretty cool like portraits with that. And
definitely.
Really good landscape. But I'm shooting on Sony. I love Sony. You keep jumping back and forth.
Yeah, Sony gang.
You still came back, so.
I might buy a Fuji, but I will never sell my Sony ever again.
I like the one that you won.
The GFX 100.
That's a cool
Let's not talk about that. I didn't want to sell it.
I don't know why you did, but you did.
Maybe one year or one time when I have $6,000 to drop on a camera, I'll buy it again.
Well, Sony for me, A7 R3. I have the S2, the FX3. I can't stop using like Sony, so I just didn't bother going with any other camera company, really. I started on a Nikon, like an old Nikon D40.
Dang.
Screwed around with that for a long time. Jumped to a D5000, D5500, and then I took that on a trip when I really was like kind of rounding out, like learning landscapes and like getting good at it and like seeing what I wanted finally from like my photos. And then I took it on a trip, scratched the sensor, and was like, well, fuck, I don't know what to do. And that just happened to be right as I got a job doing real estate where I was given an EOS R. So I was like, oh, this is cool, this is neat. And then I played with an A7S too.
Yeah.
And realized how like just friendly the Sony body is itself. Not the menu though.
Yeah.
But as far as like the body, it's very quick. It's super easy to use. I really like the colors from it, and some would say that it lacks, which compared to a Canon, I guess, yeah. It's a different value though. I feel it's a little bit more
Definitely.
like film to me. It's not so digital.
And
that's what I like.
I agree, because like when I was shooting on my R5 and my R6, the colors straight out of the camera were amazing, but they're so contrasty that they do have that kind of fake look. Sony, sorry, I had to cough. Since Sony kind of tends to lean towards this like green and magenta, and with that it gives you that film vibe, that film look.
Unfortunately, also some really weird colored ray fractal effects that come through the lens sometimes shooting straight into the sun.
Yeah, definitely.
The drones get that one too. The Autel has a Sony sensor and it does the same thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
even
cool.
with an ND. Really not fun.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about in regards to photography? Or actually, no, I think I skipped one. Excuse me, this beer is making me burp. Sorry, listeners. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe I won't. What do you see yourself doing with photography and or video in like the next 5 years? Or what do you want to do?
Like a 5-year goal, I think would be really cool is to own some sort of business and media, which is cool, like other than private contracting like I am now. I love what I do, but I also think I could do other people's jobs better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so let's start our own thing. And I would love to just kind of move into that advertisement marketing kind of like area to shoot it and show somebody else how to shoot it, and then be like, hey, you're doing the work. I'm going to hang out and do whatever the hell I want and travel and do that. That's really the ultimate goal, is to own something within media while still able to create your own media.
Yeah. So that's what, like for myself, I think with my company, my wedding company, King Collective, I think I'm still developing what I want to do. Like, I don't know if I want it to be a, I hate to use the word Walmart, but like the Walmart effect. But like, I really want to change the idea of what you get what you pay for, right? Like, I want to be able to offer like top quality at a price point that is affordable to the right people, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, because you're at that price point, you build a volume company, right? So, you know, there's people out here in the Antelope Valley that can charge X amount of dollars and only shoot 20 weddings a year and be fine with it. I don't mind shooting 100 weddings a year.
Yeah.
Right? But in the long run, in that 5-year plan, I want my company to be able to shoot 100 weddings a year, but I want to step away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
absolutely. You want to build it. That's the same thing.
And I was listening to a podcast today by the Wedding Film School show, and they were talking about associates and how it's important to have associates. Yeah. So you are my friend, and you are also an associate of my business. You shoot for me. That's super important, because being able to have that, and once you build the trust and you hire the right people, you can kind of step back a little bit and do other things or work on other projects. Yeah. And that's something I want to do, which is very similar sounding to what you want to do.
Yep. So
that's cool. What are we at right now? We have 14 minutes. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's it. Anything else you want to say? You want to give some shout outs? What's your social media? Instagram, anything like that? Go ahead.
I mainly use Instagram. RNK_photo_. It's me. Shout outs the lovely lady that gave me my beer.
Yes.
My girlfriend. Yes, my confidant.
She's amazing.
She also shoots. Helps us out quite a bit too.
She does.
everybody over at Avo that's, you know, giving me my paycheck weekly, which is cool. So wouldn't be doing as much photography, I don't think, without, you know, someone forcing me to go do it.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Sweet. Well, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah,
I appreciate
thanks
it.
for having me, man.
Yeah, you're the first guest, so I appreciate that. And guys, make sure you check out Ryan on all his social media platforms, mostly Instagram. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.